When we were coordinating the very first medical, dental, and surgical brigades, in conjunction with healthcare professionals from a church in the US, they would bring a ton of equipment and supplies on the plane with them, but would also ship larger items to the border for us to pick up and bring into Mexico. One year they shipped a complete used dental unit, hydraulic chair, x-ray machine, lights, tray tables, air compressor, autoclave, and more. My colleague Victor and I drove out to McAllen to pick up the shipment in his maroon and white pickup truck. We loaded it all up and it filled the whole truck bed. So far, so good. The US-Mexico border is often a challenging line to get things across, especially used medical equipment with no documentation. We had no invoice or bill of sale to pay duty or import tax. It was all donated for medical mission work. As such, we had letters from the donors, from the U.S. Church, sponsoring the brigade, from the Christian Medical Society in Mexico, from the Mayor of Cadereyta and the Municipal Health Committee at City Hall, all requesting and authorizing the importation of the donated equipment for humanitarian community service. We crossed the international bridge and were signaled to pull into the inspection bay. We greeted the customs officials. They took one look at our cargo and dollar signs flashed in their eyes. We assured them everything was in order and presented all our documents. But all these documents were completely worthless to Mexican customs officials. They dismissed it all and were only interested in their mordidas, or bribes, to look the other way and allow us to pass. After some discreet negotiation, we ended up paying them off for $1,000 cash to get the equipment across the border. But now we had another challenge ahead of us, 20 miles away. Just 20 miles into Mexico, there is another checkpoint where all cargo and documents are inspected again. If everything is in order at the border checkpoint, a document is provided to allow passage at the second checkpoint. We were given no such document. We arrived at the 20-mile station and were pulled over for inspection. We explained that we passed the first border inspection and were allowed to proceed. Again, we presented our folder full of official letters. Dismissed, worthless. Without official importation paperwork, we were stuck. We turned around and headed back where we came from. We were stuck in no man's land between the Rio Grande and the 20-mile. What to do? We had already paid $1,000. We weren't going to go back across the border. We had only one option. Just a few miles north of the checkpoint, we took a hard left onto a dirt road heading west. No idea where this road led, but we had a plan, or actually, a risky idea. We drove for several miles into the middle of nowhere, then we took another left, turning south onto what can only be described as a cow path. Eventually, the cow path disappeared, and we were just driving across open desert wastelands of mesquite, cactus, and scrub brush. We crossed dry riverbeds and had to get past a few barbed wire fences, but we kept going, with nothing in view for miles around in every direction. No signs, no buildings, no villages. If we had broken down out here, it would have been a long trek back to civilization. With no GPS, we navigated by the position of the sun in the sky. After a long while heading south through the desert, we figured it was finally probably far enough to head east back in the direction of the highway, but now well south of the checkpoint. Finally, we came back out on the highway a good many miles past the customs inspection station. We did it. We were home free. We made it safely back to the ranch with all the medical equipment, and it only cost us $1,000. Well worth it. We unloaded the equipment into the dental unit of the Bible Institute building. A team would later come from the States to hook it all up in time for the arrival of the medical brigade. Did we actually smuggle this equipment into Mexico illegally? Or did we just do our creative best to get it where it needed to be? Was it right or wrong? I don't know. We paid a bribe and avoided paying another one to help hundreds of people for years to come to receive free dental care and hear the gospel message. Did the end justify the means? What if I told you that we occasionally justified smuggling things into Mexico that were needed for ministry or the mission work without paying duty or import taxes or fees? Things like computers, printers, copiers, a refrigerator, all quote necessary for the Lord's work. In retrospect, yeah, maybe we should have tried to do things the right way, whatever the inconvenience or cost. but we were expected to cut corners wherever possible. Saying, "Oh, this is Mexico, this is how things are done here," doesn't make it right. Maybe paying bribes is a normal way of getting things done here, but doing it also perpetuates the corrupt system. I don't know what the answer is or how to work within a broken system like this one. I find myself asking, what would Jesus have done? What would you have done? Thank you so much for listening to this true story from Memoirs of Mexico. If you enjoyed this story, or if it was a blessing to you, please feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. That would be a blessing to me. I upload a new true story every day. If you like to read, you can also order Memoirs of Mexico in paperback or ebook on Amazon.com. There's a link in the description. Thanks again for listening.